Most women I work with are well informed. They have read the books, listened to the podcasts, and followed the accounts of the gurus. They know about clean eating, calorie deficit, building muscle, getting enough sleep, and every program under the sun. They have absorbed years of health information from every direction, and yet they are still stuck. Not because they need more information, because more information has become the problem. And that is what this video is all about. And I'm curious, when is the last thing you tried did not work? And what did you do next? You probably already know the answer. Most women in this position go back to do more research. Find something better. Look for the piece they have missed. Because that is what smart people do. They solve problems by understanding them more deeply. And it has worked for everything else in your life. Because somewhere along the way, you may have started to notice that the more you read, the less certain you feel. The more approaches you try, the harder it gets to know which one is actually right. And the more effort you put in, the more confusing it becomes that your body is not responding to the way that it should. What if that confusion is not a sign that you have not found the answer yet? What if this is a sign that the kind of answer you need cannot be found in general information at all? The more information you consume without understanding what is specific for you, the further you get from what your body is actually asking for. Hi, I'm Thien. I help high-achieving women understand what their body is actually asking for. Not in general, but for them specifically. After thousands of hours studying this over the last decade, the thing that surprised me the most is not how little most women know. It's how much they know. And how that knowledge, without the right context, becomes the very thing that keeps them from moving forward. And here is what I see happening in my own experience and with the women I work with. And as you listen to this, you may begin to recognize part of it in yourself. We do the research. We know about clean eating. We tried cutting certain foods, moving more, getting more sleep. We have followed the advice, tracked the steps, pushed through the early mornings. We have done all the surface level things that the general advice says to do, and the body is still not responding. So we conclude that we must have missed something and go looking for the next thing. But here is what is actually happening. Every piece of advice that we have been following is built for the average person, not our specific stress load, not for our specific season of life, not for our background, our history, or what our body has been carrying. General advice speaks to everyone in general and nobody specifically. So the more we apply it, the more confused we get. Because the results do not match what was promised. And the more confused we get, the more we search. And the more we search, the louder the noise becomes. Think about walking into a room where 20 different people are all giving you directions to the same destination at the same time. Everyone means well. Every direction might even be correct for someone, but you cannot hear any single one clearly enough to actually follow it. That is what years of accumulated health information feels like inside a body that has never had someone sit down and say, let us look at what is specifically true for you. Information without context is just noise. And the more of it you collect, the harder it becomes to hear your own body underneath it. Think about walking into a foreign country where you do not speak the language. You're still intelligent, still the same person who has navigated every other challenge in your life. But the signs around you mean nothing. The conversation happening nearby are invisible to you. You can see that things are being communicated. You just cannot read them. Your body has been communicating for years. The tiredness that sleeps cannot fix. The weight that stays despite the effort. The energy that disappears by mid-afternoon, and the results that never quite match what the approach promised. Your body has not been silent. You just have not yet had someone show you how to read what it has been saying. And that is not something you figure out from reading more. It is something you learn when someone who knows how to read those signals sits with you and show you what has been there all along. Hey, listen, I appreciate you. And if you're watching this and something I've shared is resonating with you, I want to ask you to do 2 simple things. First, hit the like button because it tells YouTube that this conversation matters, so it can reach more women who feel stuck in their body, their energy, and their consistency and think that they are the problem. And second, subscribe, because on this channel, I'm going to talk about things that most people don't explain clearly. How to build strength without burning yourself out. How to lead your body instead of fighting it. And how to stop relying on willpower and start creating consistency that actually lasts. And how energy, identity, physiology quietly shape the life that you're living. So if you are someone who's tired of trying harder and ready to understand your body and yourself differently, then this channel is for you. So go ahead, like and subscribe. And now back to the video. For years, I did what most well-informed women do. I followed what made sense on paper. More training, not because my body needs it, but because moving made me feel more productive. More structure, more pushing, more intensity when things stopped working. I wore the exhaustion like a badge, and I told myself that was what commitment looked like. And the more I push, the worse things get. My energy crashed, my cycle became irregular, my body was holding on to everything despite the work. And I kept concluding that I must be doing something wrong, or not enough, or not right. What took me a long time to finally understood was that my body was responding perfectly. It was responding to a stress load that was already too high. It was conserving because it was overwhelmed, not because I lacked discipline. And no amount of general advice was going to address that, because general advice was never designed to see what was specifically happening in my body. So the moment someone finally helped me to see it clearly, I stopped trying to push through and started working with what was actually there. And the things shifted in a way that years of pushing had not produced. And here is the other thing that I see. Women who has been exhausted for so long that they stop registering it as a problem. It is just how morning feel now. It is just what their 30s or 40s are like. They have accepted it as normal because everyone around them seems to feel that way. Something being common does not make it normal. And the fact that you have adapted to it does not mean your body has stopped sending the signal. It means you have learned to live with the volume turned down. The women who finally break through are not the ones who found better information. They are the ones who stop trying to solve personal problem with general answers. So let me ask you something honestly. How long have you been well informed and still stuck? How many things have you tried that made complete sense on paper and still did not produce what you were looking for? At some point, the question stops being what is the right information. It starts being something different. Something like, why does my body not respond the way that it should? What is actually going on? Why am I not seeing? Those are the right questions, and they do not get answered by more research. They get answered when someone who knows how to read the signals finally sits with you and show you what has been there all along. The women I work with who experience the biggest shifts are not the ones who become more disciplined. They are the ones who finally understood what their body is working with. Their specific life, specific stress load, and their specific season. And built from that instead of from general framework that was never designed for them. That kind of understanding does not come from the internet. It comes from someone who can see you clearly enough to show you what you cannot see from inside your own experience. What if the reason nothing has fully worked is not that you have not tried hard enough, but that you have never had someone show you what is specifically true for your body? Drop your honest answer in a comment. I'll read every single one. If this resonated, if you recognize yourself in that cycle of knowing a lot and still feeling stuck, I would love to invite you to my Peak Performance Challenge. 3 days where we stop adding to the pile and start looking for what is actually there. Your energy, your stress load, your season of life, and the history with your body. Not in general, but specifically for you. This is where the noise stops and what is specifically true for your body finally gets seen. Some of the women I work with describe it as the first time anyone has ever looked at their health from that angle. Not from a general framework, but from their actual life. The link is in the description. I would love to see you inside. And you have not been failing to figure this out. You just have been trying to find a personal answer in a place that only has general ones. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, I appreciate you for watching this one and feel free to check out these 2 videos.